One, what's out, what's out, what's out? Welcome to Trill Talk, you heard me? You know, I was um I was mistakenly putting blame on the wrong people, right? So where I am in Alabama, there's a lot of there's a lot of gentrification going on. And when it first started, I was putting the blame on not putting the blame, but I was saying these young brothers around here, that was dealing drugs, they could have bought up some of these properties. And and to a degree I was right. But as I started getting deeper into real estate myself and I purchased my first two properties and I done the research on redlining and I see all these different articles about how black people are denied mortgages at twice the rate of white people. I began to realize that it wasn't on them. They had cash money in order to buy a house cash, but they couldn't go in a bank. Like, put it like this: I had a good credit score at the time. My credit score was a 680, and I had about 25K in the bank. And I went to three different banks, and I got denied for a mortgage every single time with a 680 with 25K in the bank, and I already owned two properties cash, and I was getting denied for a mortgage. So once I realized that, I was like, man, I can't get upset at the young brothers out here who was, dealing drugs and had cash money and couldn't buy a property, um, or wouldn't buy a property because I have a good credit score, cash in the bank, and I own two assets, and they still wouldn't give me a loan. But then I noticed another investor came and they bought up numerous properties in the same neighborhood. Sam Winter, that's the name that's on the little sign in front of the properties. The same properties that I wanted that I couldn't get a loan for. He came and bought, just off the top of my head, one, two, three, four, five, six properties in the neighborhood. He probably owns more than that, but this is just off the top of my head. He's Caucasian, right? And to purchase that many properties, you would have to, you know, get a loan of some sort, whether it's a commercial loan or some type of HELOC. But I'm knowing he had to get a loan. It's not like they had cash to come and buy these properties straight out. So I couldn't. I had to change my way of thinking, right? And I had to understand that maybe was the reason why I couldn't get a loan was because these people at the bank, they were, I don't want to say just directly supporting him, but they could see the information. They could see the spreadsheets of maybe of who owns what properties in the neighborhood, who owns their properties cash, what properties have a mortgage on them, right? I'm sure the banking institution can see this. So I'm very convinced that the reason why I didn't get a loan is because this guy, already has a loan and he's purchasing properties in the neighborhood, right? So I would be a competitor to him. And I'll be honest, it pisses me off. I'm a third generation resident in this neighborhood. Third generation resident. But I can't get a loan to improve the properties in my neighborhood because an outsider, someone who's not from the area, has come and is doing the same thing. And now I would be competing with him. So basically I'm locked out, right? I would have to sell some other properties or make some more money in other type of ways in order to compete with him. So when I hear people talking about brothers not buying back, not brothers, but just black people, period, not buying the neighborhoods that they live in, it's funny to me now because these people don't truly understand the processes of redlining and being denied for mortgage loans, even though you're qualified. Even though you're qualified, you still get denied. And then you have people in other communities, whether they're white, black, Asian, or Mexican, they'll say, "Oh, they don't care about their neighborhood. They don't invest into their neighborhood." Nah, that's cap. That's cap, bro. When the people who can afford to, the people who have put themselves in position by being successful, by working hard, working smart, focusing on their credit score, focusing on making cash, focusing on doubling their income. When the people, black people, are in position to do this, and the bank still denies them a loan, well then what we gonna do, right? Now I know what we could do. We would have to work with each other and pull our resources together and go in, maybe one, two, or three of us on one property or two properties. But then we have to deal with the self hate. We have to deal with that because I don't fully trust him or I don't fully trust her, right? So I don't trust another black person with $5,000, much less $125,000 investment. Okay, see, if I can't trust another black person with $5,000, how are we gonna go in on $125,000 property? What type of mistrust is gonna be involved in that? Even though we may not have done that to each other, there's no basis that, or there's no precedent that I will rip you off um or do anything malicious. That we're just going off the hate that hate is produced. We're just going off a stereotype. So we're not going to pull our resources together. And ultimately, these other races know that. They know that. Because if we trusted each other enough to do so, we would have been done it. We would have been done it. So when you hear people talking about black people don't invest in their neighborhoods, black people don't take care of their neighborhoods, black people don't want to gentrify their own neighborhoods, that's cap. That's a bunch of cap. That's bulls, man. That's bullshit. You heard me? It's just that the the banking cartels, the banking industry doesn't want to see us in that type of position. They don't want to see us win like that. Because when we win like that, that's gonna take capital from them. That's gonna take wins out of their pocket. You heard me? So I just wanted to give y'all a quick little breakdown, a quick little understanding of that. And it happened in New Orleans as well. That's where I first saw it after Hurricane Katrina. That's where I first saw it. So, and from my research and my studies, it's happening all over the country. Oakland, Washington D.C., um, New Orleans, Louisiana. What's that? Harlem, New York. Any enclave where it was particularly um, black people, white people come in, gentrify it. They deny bank loans and HELOCs and loans of that nature to where the black people who already may own one property or two properties in the neighborhood, they prevent them from accessing the capital to go ahead and purchasing two or three more properties. So they can't lock the block up, like in Monopoly. You want to own um, Park Place and Boardwalk. You want to own all of the red squares, right? They prevent you from doing that. So, like I said, the next time you hear people talking about black people don't invest in the neighborhood, black people don't want to gentrify their own neighborhoods, that's cap. That's cap. And don't let people tell you that, Um, Make sure you spit the facts to them.